Give me 30 minutes and I'll destroy your procrastination. I'm not asking for permission. I'm giving you a warning. Do you know why you're stuck in that silent spiral you call waiting for the right moment?
Because you've built your life on a lie that plays like a parasite in your mind. You believe you have time, but you don't. No one does. Every second that passes is not just time slipping away. It's an opportunity you bury. And you do it with the indifference of someone who hasn't understood the weight of their own existence. Do you want a truth that will rip your mask off in one go? You don't procrastinate because you're lazy. You do it because you're afraid. Afraid to face what you're capable of. Afraid to discover that you're not as special as you'd like to think. Afraid to see yourself fail without the comfort of an excuse. Carl Jung knew this. He understood that procrastination isn't simple laziness. It's a form of unconscious resistance. It's your shadow, that part of you that you prefer to deny, taking control. And you know what's even more sinister? Every time you procrastinate, you strengthen that shadow. You feed it. You make it grow until one day you wake up and it's no longer you making the decisions. It's her. That version of you that prefers to sink into mediocrity rather than risk the possibility of greatness. Does it bother you to hear this? Perfect. Pain is the first symptom that you're starting to wake up. Let me ask you a brutal question. How many times have you promised yourself that tomorrow you'd change? And how many times has that tomorrow turned into another graveyard of dead intentions? Procrastination is not a harmless habit. It's a daily betrayal of your purpose. And here's what Jung would discover if he could dissect you right now. Your resistance to act isn't casual. It's a symptom of a fragmented soul, of an identity that doesn't recognize itself. Have you ever felt that anxiety, that little tremor inside when you know you should do something but just can't move? It's not a lack of willpower. It's a civil war within you. Your conscious mind wants to move forward. Your shadow wants you to stay where you are, stagnant, controllable, insignificant, and every time you choose comfort over movement, you lose a battle. One you don't see, but one that bleeds. Do you want to know why you can't stop procrastinating? Because you still haven't understood that your dreams, your goals, your best self are not guaranteed. They aren't waiting patiently for you. They're rotting while you ignore them. There's an invisible clock over your head, ticking away every second that doesn't return. Every excuse you make is another tick of that clock, moving forward without stopping. Procrastination is not putting things off. It's slow-motion suicide. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you were truly relentless with your time? If you treated every minute as a non-renewable resource? Because it is. No second chances. No repeats. Carl Jung talked about individuation, the process of becoming who you're meant to be. But that process demands a price, sacrifice, confrontation, brutal and uncomfortable work. And you know what you're doing? You'd rather watch motivational videos, make endless to-do lists, read books you never apply. Activities that disguise your paralysis as movement. But deep down, you know it's all theater. That while you write another list of goals, life keeps moving on without you. And here comes the blow you're not prepared for. You're owed nothing. Neither the universe, nor life, nor your dreams. They aren't coming to rescue you. There's no magic sign, no cosmic alignment. There's only you, facing the void you created with every decision you didn't make. Procrastination is nothing but slow suicide. A silent crime against your own potential. Do you want to keep hearing uncomfortable truths? Perfect, because I'm going to tear down one by one the lies that are killing you. First lie: I need to be motivated to start. Motivated? Do you really think the people who change the world wait to feel motivated? The one who acts only when they feel good builds nothing. They build excuses. They build fantasies. Action precedes motivation, not the other way around. Movement creates momentum. Waiting to feel inspired is like waiting for the sea to calm down before learning to swim. It's not that you can't act, it's that you're waiting for permission. And do you know who owes you that permission? No one. Second lie. It's not the right time. I'm going to tell you something you should carve into your skin. The perfect moment is a fantasy designed by your mind to justify your inaction. Life doesn't wait. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't reschedule appointments for when you're ready. You either jump now or you drown. Third lie. I'm not good enough yet. And when do you think you will be? Tomorrow? Next month? Next year? That idea is a mental trick to keep you in the comfort zone. The only way to be good enough is by acting before you feel ready. Growth isn't prior to action, it's a consequence of it. Do you know what the real problem is? It's not that you can't do things. It's that you're afraid to be mediocre on your way to becoming excellent. You'd rather never start than face the humiliation of being a beginner. And meanwhile, life keeps going. Others, less talented than you, less prepared, less intelligent, move forward. Because they aren't trapped in their own expectations of perfection. And now I'm going to take you deeper. Do you want to know the real root of your procrastination? The real seed of the poison running through your veins every time you decide to leave it for tomorrow? It's fear of confronting your shadow, that part of you that knows, deep down, that you could fail despite your effort. What if you try and it's not enough? What if you give it all and still lose? You'd rather not try. That way you can keep the illusion that, had you really tried, you would have succeeded. It's easier to live with a glorified maybe than to face a I tried and failed. But let me tell you something Carl Jung would whisper in your ear if you could hear him. The real hell is not failing. It's never knowing what you could have been. Every day you procrastinate, you're not just avoiding failure, you're sabotaging your right to discover your greatness. Your procrastination is the premature tombstone of everything you could have built. And there's no guaranteed happy ending here. There's only choice. Do you still want more? Perfect, because I'm not done with you yet. And now, listen carefully, because what's coming next is not for the faint of heart. So far, I've talked to you about fear, about the shadow, about that silent war within you. But there's something even more lethal that fuels your procrastination. Self-deception. You lie to yourself every day, without pause, without shame. And you don't even realize it. You convince yourself that you're busy when you're really distracted. You tell yourself you're planning when you're actually postponing. You repeat that you're waiting for the right moment when deep down you know you're running away. Do you know what Jung would say about this? That self-deception is the most sophisticated act of the unconscious to protect you from the brutal truth of your mediocrity. Your mind prefers to invent excuses rather than face the fact that you might be wasting your one life. And the worst part is you do it with impressive skill, almost artistically. You're capable of building castles of justification so convincing that you don't even notice you're living in a prison decorated with your own lies. Want proof? How many times have you told yourself, I don't feel well today, tomorrow I'll definitely feel better? How many times have you believed you need rest exactly when you should be acting? How many times have you adorned your inaction with pretty words so you don't call it by its name? Let me be clear. Rest is not procrastination, But using rest as an excuse to avoid facing your responsibilities is. And you know this. Self-deception is the opium of the procrastinator. It numbs you, it calms you, it makes you feel everything's under control while everything is slowly falling apart around you. And here's the most bitter irony. The smarter you are, the more elaborate your self-deception. The more capable you are of reasoning, the more dangerous your excuses. Misdirected intelligence is not an advantage. It's a weapon you use against yourself. You don't lack ideas. You don't lack resources. You don't lack time. You're overflowing with justification. Every excuse you create to avoid acting is another stone on the corpse of your potential. Want another uncomfortable truth? No one's going to come tear you out of that prison. No one's going to dismantle your lies. That's your job. And it'll be painful, brutal, merciless. You'll have to look the part of you in the face that you'd rather ignore. You'll have to rip away the layers of justification you've been building for years as if they were armor, but are actually chains. Procrastination isn't your enemy. You are. That part of you that prefers the comfort of self-deception over the risk of authenticity. And I'm going to tell you something that'll probably make you angry. Deep down, you love procrastinating. Not because it feels good, but because it keeps you safe from the abyss of real effort. While you procrastinate, you don't have to face your fear of failure. While you procrastinate, you're still, in your mind, someone with potential. You're still a promise, not a result. Promises don't hurt. Results do. Do you dare to stop being a promise and become something tangible, real, imperfect, but authentic? Do you dare to break the cycle of self-deception and start living as if your life truly matters? Because I warn you, once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Once you recognize that every excuse is a betrayal of yourself, every moment of procrastination becomes an unbearable reminder of your cowardice. And you know what? That discomfort is good. It's the sign that you're waking up. The problem isn't feeling uncomfortable. The problem is feeling comfortable while your life fades away. What if I told you that discomfort is the price of evolution? What if I told you that only those who dare to walk, wounded, bleeding, confused, move towards something truly worth it? Jung knew it. Transformation is never comfortable. It's a mutilation of the superficial self to release the deep self. And procrastination, my friend, is the resistance to that necessary amputation. Every time you procrastinate, you're saying, I prefer to keep this broken version of me than face the pain of my metamorphosis. Have you ever wondered why truly meaningful changes in life are usually accompanied by pain? It's no coincidence. Pain is the dissolution of the old self. And if you're not willing to go through it, you'll never know the freedom of your authentic being. Do you want to keep living half-heartedly? Do you want to keep being the shadow of what you could be? Or do you want, once and for all, to face the internal storm and come out the other side, transformed? This is not a call to cheap motivation. It's not an invitation to get inspired for 5 minutes and then return to your lethargy. It's a warning. Every day you procrastinate is not a neutral day. It's a lost day. It's an irreversible blow to the clock of your life. While you doubt, while you justify, while you plan instead of acting, time doesn't wait for you. Time laughs at you. And one day, I promise you, you'll look back and see a landscape of withered opportunities. And you won't be able to blame anyone else. Not your boss, not your family, not the government, not the weather, not your mood. It will be your condemnation. And also your shame. Want to know the real face of procrastination? It's not rest. It's not strategy. It's not lack of time. It's fear dressed as comfort. Mediocrity disguised as patience. Slow death camouflaged as caution. And the worst part, the most devastating part, is that you're the one who perpetuates it. Until now, you've protected yourself with excuses. You've survived by wrapping yourself in the warm blanket of self-deception. But no more. I've torn away that blanket. I've left you naked in front of your truth. Now the choice is yours. Are you going to keep lying to yourself? Are you going to keep postponing your own greatness? Or are you going to rise, still shaking, still bleeding, and start building the life you owe yourself? Procrastination wants you to think that tomorrow will be easier, but tomorrow will be worse. Tomorrow you'll be weaker, more indebted to yourself, more chained to that identity you hate but don't dare to change. Don't wait for a rescue. Don't wait for a miracle. Don't wait for the day when acting is easy. That day won't come. Act now. Act broken. Act scared. Act without guarantees. Because the alternative is slow, silent, and final, becoming a ghost of what you could have been. And believe me, there's no more bitter nightmare than that. Now that you're facing your naked truth, let's talk about something that has operated silently until now. Your narrative identity. You're not just what you do, you're, above all, the stories you tell yourself about who you are. That inner voice, whispering, insistent, reminding you every day who you're supposed to be. And here's the knot of the problem. You've been telling yourself the same mediocre story for too long. I'm someone who needs more time. I'm a person who works under pressure. I've always been a bit lazy. I can't change now. I'm just like this. It's hard for me to start. Do you see it? These aren't just thoughts. They're self-imposed curses, poisonous mantras you've let define your existence. Carl Jung would understand this better than anyone. These narratives are not accidental. They are defense mechanisms, mental constructions designed to protect you from the pain of changing. They are the golden bars of your cage. Every time you repeat those stories, you reinforce the prison. And the most perverse thing is that deep down, you love these stories. Not because they make you happy, but because they make you feel safe. Because they give you a solid excuse not to face the terror of reinventing yourself. Narrative identity is the glue of procrastination. You don't procrastinate simply because you don't know what to do. You procrastinate because you've tied your identity to the figure of the one who waits, the one who plans, the one who isn't ready yet. Changing wouldn't just be acting. It would be destroying that version of you that you've been feeding for years. It would be betraying the character you've played your whole life. Do you realize the magnitude of that? Procrastinating isn't just an agenda mistake. It's an existential drama. It's a frontal clash between the you that is and the you that could be. And in that clash, fear almost always wins. But not today. Today, I'll teach you how to break that spell. First, understand this. Your thoughts are not commandments. Just because a thought appears in your head doesn't mean it's true, nor that you must obey it. That inner voice telling you that you can't, that you're not ready, that it's better to wait. It's an echo of your shadow, not an oracle of wisdom. The human mind is an expert at inventing reasons not to do what it fears. Do you think you're rebellious because you procrastinate? You're not a rebel. You're a slave, a loyal servant to your internal stories, a servant to the voice that keeps you small. Want real rebellion? Then act when you're most afraid. Do exactly what your mind tries to sabotage. Every time you defeat that voice, every time you choose to move despite the terror, you're rewriting your identity. You're saying, I'm not who I was, I'm not my excuses, I'm not my fears. True transformation doesn't begin when you achieve goals. It begins when you become the type of person who doesn't negotiate with their own limitations. Want a brutal secret? Your brain isn't designed to make you happy. It's designed to keep you safe. And to your primitive brain, safe means just like yesterday. That's why you procrastinate, because change is a threat. Because every new action, every new challenge triggers internal alarms whispering, better stay here, in the known, in the comfortable. But if you obey those alarms, your life will be an eternal repetition of yesterday. Safety is the poison of evolution. Want to grow? You'll have to betray your need to feel safe. You'll have to embrace discomfort as your new home. And no, it won't be easy. It won't be pretty. It will be dirty, chaotic, painful. But it will also be real. And the real, though painful, is always better than living anesthetized. Look around you. Observe those who've achieved something you admire. Do you think they got there waiting to feel ready? Do you think they didn't fear? Didn't have voices inside their heads telling them they'd fail? The only difference between them and you is that they didn't negotiate with their fears. They dragged them, carried them like heavy backpacks, but they kept walking. Now, let me ask you something uncomfortable. How much longer are you willing to postpone your life? Another year? Another decade? Another buried dream? How long will you hold on to the lie that you still have time? Because I warn you, life doesn't do last-minute discounts. There are no promotions for those who leave everything for the end. There are only consequences. And while you procrastinate, others, less brilliant, less capable, less privileged, are building the life you dream of. Not because they're better than you, but because they chose to move when you chose to wait. That's the only unforgivable sin: conscious inaction. If you know you're procrastinating and keep doing it, you become an accomplice in your own destruction. You're not a victim, you're the executioner. Does it hurt to accept this? Good. The pain is a sign that something inside you is still alive, refusing to die quietly. Use that pain. Turn that rage into action. Because if you don't do it now, in a few years, when you look back, the pain will be much deeper. It will be the pain of having known and not acted. And there's no anesthesia for that kind of suffering. So here we are. You, your shadow, your broken story, and a brutally simple choice. Are you going to keep being a passive spectator of your ruin? Or are you going to rise now, staggering, scared, but determined, and start building the life you deserve? The world is not going to adapt to your pace. The world is not going to pause its clocks to wait for you. Every second you waste is one more brick in the grave of your possibilities. Procrastination is death disguised as prudence. And you, now, no longer have the excuse of ignorance. You know what's at stake. You know who the enemy is. You know what the battle is. Now tell me, are you going to fight? Or will you keep postponing until there's nothing left of you? Don't answer now. Prove the answer with your actions. Time is running out. It doesn't wait. It doesn't forgive. It doesn't negotiate. And believe me, it won't show mercy either.